Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon for those of you that are on the East Coast. This is Carrie Scanlon from ToyFest West. I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us this morning, and also thank Lindsay Anvik for giving us this great webinar and a chance to learn something new. Lindsay, go ahead.
Okay, welcome you guys. I'm so excited to do something for exhibitors. I know you guys are always so busy at the show, so it can be hard for you to sneak away and get to some of the education that ToyFest has. So I wanted to do something to help you with marketing while you're at the show, but also give you some tips about how to prepare beforehand. So the first thing that I'll say is that it starts before the show. So if you can prepare before the show starts, you'll have a clear head. You won't be in show mode, trying to think about taking photographs and creating content, and all of that stuff just goes right out the window because your focus is on sales. So what I would suggest is that you decide on products that you want to feature before the show, whether it's in a one sheet or on social media. Make sure that you photograph them this way that you can take time to make it look beautiful, have great backgrounds, be able to style it in a way that looks fantastic without you having to do it at the show. And then the next tip that I would give you is to gather them in sort of an easily accessible place. Maybe it's on a Dropbox or some kind of shared filing system so that sales reps or your marketing team or you yourself can easily sort of, get to them if you need to sort of share them at the show. So here are just a few examples of, some of the things that can be, created. I thought that the styling of some of these things were great. They showed a child interacted with it. It's a, product sort of focused photo, but I thought that they were bright and colorful. And so these are the kind of photographs that you can sort of prepare ahead of time. These kinds of things are very difficult to do at the show, near impossible. And so, creating content like this, whether you have it from before or whether you create it before the show starts, is a smart way to sort of have them gathered. So then when the show starts, you can sort of push that content out and you don't have to worry about taking time out of selling to get the word out about you being at the show or your booth number and all that good stuff. So some content ideas to do, before the show one would be some product teasers. So showcasing new items, buyers always want to know what the best sellers are. They also want to know what the new collections are. Another thing you could do is to sort of tease a picture of your booth from last year. And this would sort of give buyers an idea of reminding them what your booth looks like and the kind of sort of product mix that you have, so that when they go to the show, they know what to look for in terms of your branding and the kind of products that you have. Another kind of content that I love is having a video of a customer sort of interacting with a new product or having a staff member interact with it. I think it gets people excited about new products and they can see sort of how it works. Video is becoming more and more sort of the front runner in terms of people, the most popular types of content in comparison to sort of still photography. The other thing you can do is to sort of advertise upcoming show specials. So if you have a free shipping special, or if you buy a certain collection, then maybe you get some kind of fixture that goes with it. If you're having some kind of event, on a certain day, so maybe the first day of the show, you have sort of sparkle donuts, or you have some kind of, free candy or something that's going on, you may want to advertise that. And then the other thing is to sort of push out one sheets or sell sheets with some of your new products or your catalog, so that before they get there, buyers can get excited about the selection of products that you have to give. So here are just two examples of types of content to sort of push out. One is sort of a picture of the booth. And then the other one is sort of teasing, come see us at ToyFest. These are the dates. These are our booth number. These are the kind of products that we have. And the great thing about both of these is that it sort of reinforces your brand. It reminds buyers that you're going to be there. It has sort of important details like the booth number and the dates. And it also sort of reinforces the kind of products that you're going to have so that they can sort of make notes or be reminded that you're there and to look for you. So when you're setting up, and I know because I've helped so many clients, on the wholesale side set up, it can be an arduous process. It is a labor of love. So I understand that, the primary focus is getting things set up. But there is content that can be created during setup that I think could be valuable for you. So, taking pictures of the progress, having people be able to see an empty booth and then the boxes and the crates all in the middle of it. And then, when you have some of the bones set up and then when you have the products in there and then the finished product, seeing that sort of progression is fun. I think a lot of people don't get to see sort of the behind the scenes that happens for sort of setting a booth up. I've seen a lot of people do sort of a progress video or a time-lapse video of setting things up, which I think is very fun, from sort of an empty booth to all the way when it's completely complete. And there's a few ways to do this. I know that iPhone has one sort of already built in, but they also have several apps that are free or, for not that much money, where you can create a video for a time-lapse, have it set up, a little bit across from the booth, and have it record and then upload it so that people can sort of see you guys setting up. It gets buyers excited about the show. And then another content idea is sort of to have some kind of victory video or photo that happens when you're done. I'm sure you guys know as wholesalers, there's no better feeling than when you put the last piece and you step back and you realize, okay, we're ready to sell, it's done. And that's a great feeling. And you literally want to jump for joy. And so that's a great moment to sort of celebrate that and capture it on film, either by video or by photograph, so that people can see you're ready to go. The show is going to start soon, and you're prepared. And so it's obviously it's a like I said, there's no better feeling than when you get that booth finally all set up, because it is so much work, I know. So capturing that moment and that happiness that comes from it is a great idea. So here are just two examples of a booth that was sort of setting up where you can see sort of the progress, and being able to see it sort of in action is interesting for buyers to see the progress of it happening. So I would encourage you to, share that with your followers and your buyers so that they know how hard you're working to make a beautiful booth for them. And then here's an example of a booth that has sort of interacting with their products. It's a great shot of the sort of product in motion. And it could be a great sort of teaser shot for come see us, whether it's the first day of the show or come see us, the day before the show, so that people can get excited about your booth. And then again, they know to recognize either the sales rep or you. They know to recognize that sort of backdrop of the booth, and they can get excited about the products that you have. So the other tip that I would have for wholesalers is to use the last day of setup as a way to gather sort of during show product content, because I know from helping wholesalers, when it's showtime, there's not a lot of time to gather content. Trying to take pictures of products in the booth and getting the right lighting when people aren't there, and having the time and care to be able to make it look how you want it to look can be difficult. So it's really important that the last day of setup, maybe at the end of the day, is when you should take time to gather that content. So take photos of products in the booth, take wide shots of the booth, definitely take pictures of different sort of categories or areas, highlight bestsellers and new products. And that way you'll have it, and so that when the show starts, you won't have to worry about trying to take it. Because what happens is, I know we get the booth set up and then the show starts, and then we sort of, run around whenever we have a free moment to try to take a photo. But it's never as good as when we sort of take 20 minutes on the last day of setup to sort of make it look nice without being rushed, without worrying someone's gonna walk in and see you taking photos. So it can be a good day to kind of gather content without feeling the sort of pressure of during show time. So here's some examples of some products that, some sort of content that you can do. The one on the right I like because it's just showcasing one product. It, highlights the booth number, which I think is a very important detail that you should always put in all of your posts to sort of reinforce how to find you again. The one on the left was for a different trade show, for a gift show, but what I liked about it is they were highlighting both their products and then also kind of a glimpse of what their booth looked like. And so I thought this was a good example because it could be fun to showcase maybe a collection of products or one product and then a little snapshot of the booth as well, or a part of the booth. And that way you're sort of killing two birds with one stone. You're letting them know what booth you're going to be in, a new collection or a product line, and then also sort of a glimpse into what the booth looks like so that they'll know what to look for when they come and see you. So I know you may be thinking, okay, well, how can I create some of these things if I don't have a graphic designer, or if I, am limited in time for, creating something beautiful? Canva is a really great app. They also are on desktop. It is free, but you can also pay for more bells and whistles. But I've used it for years and I've never had to pay extra because they have so many templates, so many fonts. You can upload your own photos or use their gallery of photos. You can upload product shots. You can, include your logo, and they just have so many templates. They also have the right sizing for any kind of social media post. So that's also a huge positive, and then you can upload it directly to your social media account. So if you want to create a Facebook post, you just click on Facebook post, then they'll have a bunch of templates. You can create what you want and then save it to your phone or save it to your desktop, or you can upload it directly to your social media accounts. So I find it to be very user-friendly. It's free, so obviously there's no issue there, and it helps you create beautiful content without having to worry about paying a graphic designer or anything like that. So it's important to share social media content with buyers as a way to promote products during the show, and to help them with their social media. So what I mean by this is I always encourage my wholesale clients to create, a few sort of templates like this example, where they can share it with buyers so that buyers can immediately share it with their fans on social media. So for example, Silly Giraffes, had a booth, and when a buyer buys something that includes this collection, once they're done with the order, what I would encourage wholesalers to do is say, hey, I have like a great shop where you could share this on social media. Do you want me to text it to you or email it to you? And then you can just very easily on your phone send it to them, and then they can share it on social media to get their buyers and customers excited about your products in their stores. And it also gets the word out about your products through all of your sort of customers and buyers at the show. So the reach for you is extended beyond just your sort of retailers that are in there. It's also sharing with their customers so that they get excited about your products coming in to their store. And this I created with Canva. So like I said, it doesn't have to be incredibly complicated. It can be simple. It's just a way to kind of tease your products, get customers excited, and also to help your buyers out and say, listen, I know it's hard to think of social media content while you're at the store, while you're away buying. Let me share this with you so that, you can have one less thing to worry about. So buyers are often very grateful for, you sharing content with them because, it takes one thing off their plate, and it helps both of you out. So the other thing that I would encourage you to do is to schedule posts ahead of time. So using the content that you created before the show, like I said, those product shots that you want to take that look beautiful, even the shots that you take of the booth being created, or the shots the day before the show starts, then upload them and create a posting schedule so that it automatically posts during the show. I know that when I've worked with wholesalers, the focus is all on selling, and that's what it should be. Those are the golden hours. That's what you're there for. You paid to have a booth, and the most important thing is to get orders, to have your product, be seen by as many people as possible, to get people excited about it. And so the afterthought is always sort of social media, email marketing, all that good stuff. So if you can schedule posts ahead of time, then you don't have to worry about it. It's being pushed out. People are seeing things with the right tags, and that then you don't have to worry about having that other job sort of on your mind. And then it allows you to focus even more on selling, because then you're not worried about trying to remember to post during the show. So some options for that, there's a few. One that's had great reviews that I've had clients had success with is called Tailwind. They have free and paid options, and you can schedule posts on Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, things like that. You can decide the days and times that things post, and then it just pushes it out, automatically, so that you can take that anxiety and that worry sort of off your plate. Promo Republic is another sort of post social media scheduling app. It's for Facebook and Instagram, and similar to Tailwind, you can upload the photos, put in all the description and the hashtags and all that stuff, and then have it, push out during the show or before the show. So again, that is sort of taken off your plate, so you don't have to worry about it. The other benefit of Promo Republic is that it has, similar to Canva, it has some design sort of options for you. So it can help you sort of create more beautiful posts. So it's sort of an all-in-one, all-encompassing app. But Tailwind and Canva are also, great. I wouldn't say that one is necessarily better than the other. It's just they have a little bit different features. So the other thing that I would encourage you in terms of content is, if you have some kind of show special, to make sure that buyers know. So you may want to tease it before the show, and then have a post maybe the first day or the second day of the show, so that they know that they don't want to miss out on that show special. Whatever that may be. Maybe it's a certain amount of orders, maybe it's free shipping, maybe if they buy a certain amount, they'll get a free fixture. Whatever it may be, you want to make sure that that's sort of front and center, and so that they are encouraged, if they see it, to come to the booth and place the order then. Because of course, I know as wholesalers, you want them to buy at the show, and some people place orders afterwards and obviously reorder afterwards, but you also want to encourage them to make those purchases while they're at the show. So it's always good to push out content that highlights that sort of show special. So it's good to create content beforehand, like I said, so you can share it easier with buyers. It creates sort of an immediate connection between you and the buyers. It helps the buyers because it provides them with shareable content, and it gets the customers excited about the product. So like that example with the sort of giraffe that I showed you with the kid, having that kind of content readily available and easy to share either by text messages or by email is a great way to get people to share your content. And to help buyers out. And then also, because you're helping them, there's that even further connection that you have, besides them just being a buyer for your products. it's another step of sort of helping them with their business, which, creates sort of a deeper bond between buyers and wholesalers. So I just wanted to showcase some more examples of product shots and some fun ways to kind of showcase products, when you're thinking about what kinds of things can I post before the show or during the show. Here are some great examples. Diverse Marketing, it's the sales rep group, and following them on Instagram is a great idea. They have a lot of really sort of beautiful, interesting ways to sort of shoot products and, have product shots. They're great at it. It's a strength of theirs for sure. And so I think that you could gather a lot of inspiration from them in terms of, how they style toys and some interesting ways to kind of, like I said, take inspiration from them so that you can use it to your advantage. Now, of course, you don't want to copy exactly what they're doing. That wouldn't be right, as we know, but you can see, the photo on the left with the cable bites, that was just done with some cutouts and some paper. And so I'm sure that there are similar things that you could do with your products where you use sort of creative use of colored paper and cutouts to create a beautiful photograph. So if you're going to go through all the sort of work of creating these posts before the show and taking these photographs and making this content, you want to make sure that you have the right details when you post. So it's incredibly important to post the booth number. And I always tell my wholesale clients that I want you to put the booth number, and if you're in a specific room or a specific area or you're near something that they could identify easily, put that in there also. Because when you're walking through a show, it can sometimes be very hard for a buyer to find you again if they don't have the booth number. And sometimes buyers forget to write down the name of the booth, or they just write down the product and then they can't find you because it's a different name. And so having the booth number in is more important than anything, but I also like to include details about where you are. So say it's, booth number 345 and we're, along the same aisle of the snack bar. And so that way, when they're looking for you, they can easily sort of connect those two things. Also, you want to make sure that you're using the official ToyFest hashtag or, tagging ToyFest in Facebook and Instagram. ToyFest does a great job of, sharing content from vendors. And so posting content and tagging them is a great way for them to see you and for them to, reuse your content so that more people can see that you're at the show and the products that you want to feature. So I talk to my clients a lot about how social media is social. And it's the most important part about social media is the social part. So you don't want to just talk all about yourself. So we've all been at that party where we, are talking to someone and all they're doing is talking about themselves. They never ask you any questions about you or your life, and they just want to brag about themselves. And it's not fun to be in that kind of conversation. And we always are like, ugh, I wish, where's my spouse or where's my friend so I can exit this conversation. And on social media, if you are a company that only talks about your products all the time, you're that guy at the party that no one wants to talk to. You need to mix up your content so that it has plenty about your products, of course, because I know you're here to sell your products, but also some fun things about your staff, the experiences that you're having, the travels that you're taking, the other things that are about the business in addition to your products. Because it gives you more heart, more soul. We get to really understand and identify with you in a different way instead of just feeling like you're trying to sell us products all the time. Because, people buy products from brands that they trust, from brands that they relate to, from brands that they identify with. And so the more that you can share about sort of the other aspects of your business, the greater chance that buyers have of feeling a deeper connection to you beyond you just having a great product. So it's important to treat your fans and followers like customers, because they're potential customers, current customers, or maybe even former customers if the social media isn't right. So it's important not just to talk about yourself, and when I say yourself, I mean just your products all the time. It's good to have products, but it's also good to include posts about meals that you have, maybe the view from your hotel room or the Las Vegas skyline. If you go see a show while you're in Las Vegas, that could be fun to sort of share with them. Pictures of customers, so pictures of your buyers are great, pictures of the showroom floor, all just sharing the experience of being at ToyFest that buyers can identify with and get excited about. And it's also an opportunity to show buyers that sort of behind the scenes aspect of, how wholesalers, create this business and the kind of things that they, that takes to kind of have a booth at ToyFest, and the amount, because I know it's so much work. So it's good to mix in some of those things. Now primarily your content should be about your products and your new collections and all that good stuff. But it always is fun once in a while to have a picture of, if you have a staff member who's being silly, or always tells a funny joke, or loves to interact with the kids that may be at the show, whatever it may be. You want to sort of showcase the more sort of human, non-product side of your business, to make that connection with buyers and people that are following you on social media. So here are two examples. One was from a trade show where there was the eclipse, and so they took a picture of her with those special sunglasses on, in her booth, which I screenshotted it right when it happened, but she got a ton of sort of likes and comments on it because it did two things. It was showcasing her booth and her products, but it was also talking about something that was very topical because everyone was talking about the eclipse. And so it was sort of a fun way to kind of incorporate something that was topical, and incorporating also her products and her booth. And then the one to the right just showcases a view from a hotel room in New York City for a trade show. So when you're in Vegas, if you can take a picture of the strip or the welcome sign, it just gets people excited about the fact that you're there, and gets buyers connected with you and the experience of being at ToyFest. So here are two more examples of content that I thought were great. One is sort of, any kind of showcasing where you can see a child interacting with your products or customers interacting and having fun and sort of being either mesmerized or laughing or happy using your products, because I'm sure that you have all kinds of sort of innovative, interesting, fun, learning, games and toys that buyers need to know about. And so showcasing someone interacting with them is always a huge plus, and sort of takes it a step beyond just sort of a still product shot. The one to the right is just a girl sort of saying, I had such a great time at ToyFest. It's my last sort of trade show of the year, yay. So I'm sure you guys are in the thick of the trade show season. I know that it's a long, grueling couple of months of sort of traveling and setup and breakdown and all that stuff. And so there is that sort of joy and victory that comes from, wrapping up one of the last shows and, celebrating that. And people seem to really have a lot of comments about that. And it connected her with buyers who also do a lot of traveling at that time to buy toys and games. So I would encourage you to think about Facebook and Instagram ads just during the show. And the reason why is because you don't want to be afraid to push content to sort of gain more followers during the show. It's a great way to get more eyeballs on your products. It's a great way to potentially get seen by more buyers. And so you can set a budget, you can do it as many, as little as $1 up to, whatever you want. And you can do it right before, during, and after the show. And if you decide to proceed with this, what I would do is I would make the show during the show budget the highest, because you want as many people to potentially see it during the show as possible. And so that's when you want as much money and as many eyeballs and as many sort of click-throughs as you can, is during the show. And it can be a great way to gain new followers from, new buyer followers. And also to get buyers that may not have known about you to come by your booth and see you. And because you can create ads that are according to your budget, you don't have to worry about that as much, because you can set the budget to whatever you're comfortable with. So even if you want to spend $25, at least you'll get, however many more people during the show seeing it. Buyers that follow ToyFest or whatever it may be, you'll have a greater chance of them either becoming a follower, interacting with your content, or coming by the booth to see you. So according to Adweek, for example, a typical return on investment from retail ads is 152%. So Facebook ads for, retailers and wholesalers tend to be, sort of fantastic for getting a great ROI. Facebook and Instagram ads allow you to drill down very deep, so you can target people who like ToyFest or who have checked into ToyFest. You can target people who like your competitors. You can target certain store owners. You can target people who, are living in a certain, area of the country. So if you're trying to target, buyers in the Northeast who like your competitor, who also like ToyFest, you can do that. So the ads can be very specific to you, and because they're specific, they'll be even less expensive. So for wholesalers, it can be incredibly effective. And then, like I said, you can set your budget with Facebook and Instagram so that it's according to whatever you're comfortable with. So photos and videos on social media, upload a photo or picture and then include an applicable link. So do not upload a link to a video. Because Facebook and Instagram treats that as secondary content. If you actually upload the video to Facebook or upload the video to Instagram, it treats it as it's your own native content, which is what you want, because then it sees it as more valuable, as if instead of uploading a link to a video. And they found that posts with photo albums, pictures, or video generate 100 to 180% more engagement. In terms of a description, 80 characters, not words, but characters or less, receive a 27% higher engagement. So you want to keep your descriptions short and sweet. So the other thing that you can do is Facebook and Instagram stories. For those that aren't familiar, an Instagram or Facebook story is a feature that allows users to post photos and videos that vanish after a certain amount of time. So usually it's after 24 hours. Also, the content that you share in your stories, either on Facebook or Instagram, don't appear on your main feed. The fun thing about them is you can tag people and accounts, you can add locations, you can add polls, stickers, and so it can be a really fun way, especially when you're at the show, to kind of get people to see it and interact with it more. And because it can be sort of silly, sort of off the cuff content, it can be a great way for people to interact with it in a way that they may not with regular posts. So just to give you some numbers on why using Instagram stories and also Facebook stories are a good idea for wholesalers, 60% of Instagram users access them daily. So 1/3 of Instagram users use and interact with stories every day. The stories increase the amount of time people spend on Instagram. And because it's at the top of the newsfeed, when people log into Instagram, they're more likely to click on it. So that content is more easily accessible to, your followers, like your buyers. And 70% of Instagram stories are watched with the sound on. So that's something to keep in mind when you're creating a video or, stringing together photographs. So here's an example of what an Instagram story can look like and how much fun you can have with it. So you can do a poll, so you can say which one, plain or sprinkles. This is obviously with donuts, but you could do it with anything. So you could take two different products, maybe that may be different colors, or two different products that could be from different collections, or maybe from the same collection but different colors, and say which one do you like better. Then you can add in, a location like being at ToyFest. You can add hashtag like ToyFest West or ToyFest 2019. You could do a poll to say, which three ones would you like better. You can add in a date and time and fun sort of moving stickers. And then you get to see that picture on the right shows you sort of who voted, what they voted for. And it can be a great way to get buyer feedback about the collection, the colors that you're thinking about. And so it's fun to post this during the show, but also during product development, it can be very useful for wholesalers because they can get immediate feedback about the kind of colors, styles, packaging that customers and / buyers may want. And so it's a great way to sort of gather data. So here are some ideas for wholesalers for Instagram and Facebook story ideas. And this is not just for Instagram and Facebook stories. It could be for any kind of content on social media, but it works. I've found that with stories, this particularly works well. So you can show you on the plane or traveling in your truck. Obviously the setup, the start and finish result, any kind of sort of cocktail or great meal that you're having. Obviously, going to the show, it can be exhausting because you're just on all day and it's a lot of work. And so I'm sure so many of us look forward to a great meal and, a nice glass of wine or a fun cocktail at the end of the night. And so showcasing that, is a solidarity of buyers and wholesalers. Having people vote on different colors or products that they like or which side of the booth they like best. Promoting show specials can be great because you can do a countdown about, how much time they have left to sort of get the show special. I would encourage you so much to partner up with other vendors that are there and just share content. So, just say, hey, I'll post on Instagram about you if you post about us. Obviously, you sort of gain camaraderie when you're setting up and, you're there for so many days. And so you get to talking to your sort of booth neighbors and people that are across from you. And so, help each other out by, saying, I want to, showcase your product, if you showcase mine. And that way there's strength in numbers, there's strength in followers, there's strength in people knowing. And remember, if someone comes by for someone else and they've seen your booth on their, Facebook or Instagram, they're likely to also stop by your booth because there's that familiarity and trust that comes from another vendor saying, this is a great vendor, you should also check them out. And then, of course, another fun thing is to show off new inventory or buyers sort of using or interacting with your products. So if you need any help with merchandising, with booth layout, with catalogs or one sheets, I'm so happy to help you. Just call me or email me, but I would love to take any questions that you guys have or any issues that you've had. And, please feel free to put it in the question portion so that I can answer them so everyone can benefit from it. So Karen McWilliams said, can a publishable ToyFest logo be sent to us? I'm sure that Carrie can send something out so that she can share that with you. So Karen, yes.
And the logo can also be pulled off the top of our website too.
Okay, so Karen, I hope that helps you, and I hope anyone else that's curious about that, of course, ToyFest is here to help you. And so, we want you to, encourage you to talk about the fact that you're going to be there and get buyers excited about it. Does anyone else have any questions? I would love to answer anything. Ask me anything. Karen said she loved the introduction. She's a new user, so it'll be so helpful. I'm so glad. Does anyone else have any questions either about booth layout or about one sheets or catalogs, you know, things that they should have during the show?
Or even merchandising your booth.
Yeah, merchandising your booth, any sort of issues you may have, or I will tell you this, you know, in terms of merchandising, if it's selling, if a product is selling, leave it alone in the booth, because something magical is happening there with the lighting and with whatever may be around it. And if something is not selling in the booth and you're finding people aren't picking it up and aren't really interacting with it, that's when you should move it. But if something is people are picking it up and ordering it, leave that spot alone and do whatever you can to continue to move products around that aren't being picked up or touched or ordered, so that you can get these those products moving. So, and I have torn up a booth in the middle of a show to kind of rearrange things, and it takes, you know, however long it takes, half an hour or an hour, but for me it was worth it, because I sort of switched one side to the other so that it would help sort of grease the wheels to sell those other products. So that was it's important to not go a few days and leave products where they are if they aren't selling. So definitely take advantage of paying attention to that and moving things if they aren't, because you have those golden hours to sell. And I know it's so important for you guys to move this product. So that's an important tip that I want to share. Ravine asked me if I can share the slides. Yes, absolutely. I will see if I can, either Carrie will attach it or I'll see if I can attach it in here. And I'm happy to do that, Ravine. And anyone else have any questions? Oh, Marguerite, yes. Tell me what your question is. Okay, Rivian said, do you just depend on social media? Where else do we showcase our product? So I would certainly, that's a great question, Rivian. I would say definitely email marketing is really important. For my wholesale clients, I send out usually 2 emails before the show starts, telling them what booth we're going to be in, giving them sell sheets that, you know, talk about our new products and collections. And then I call every buyer that I think will be there and say, I just want to make sure you're going to be there. We have great products for you this year. We have a whole new collection. You got to see it. Because most wholesalers only do sort of email outreach or social media outreach. I don't have a ton of wholesalers that I know that actually pick up the phone and make the calls. And I know that can often make the difference, because I want to touch, you know, with my clients, I want them to make as many touch points with buyers as they can before the show, so that there's that connection to say, hey, Tammy, you know, I know you bought from us last year, you bought from us 2 years ago. We have a whole new product line. You've got to see it. It's been selling out. We've been really well at other shows. Please come by and see us. So I would encourage you to also do some email marketing and also make some phone calls. And I know it takes time, but I promise you there's value in making that sort of phone connection. And whereas a person can sort of ignore an email, or they can miss a social media post, it's harder for them to miss a message or to miss a phone call. So it's a way to have a deeper connection. Okay, Marguerite, how common is it to sell products at the show? Well, that's what we're here for wholesalers. So, you know, it's very common for, you mean products, you know, sort of cash and carry, I'm curious, or if you mean, you know, wholesale orders. The wholesale orders, of course, you know, that's why everyone sets up at ToyFest, is to have those orders come in and to have people place orders. So yes, it's very common, and that's what the buyers are there for, to make those orders at the show. In terms of cash and carry, I'm not sure how common that is. I don't think that's what the show is, primarily for. So I'm going to say no, unless Carrie disagrees, in terms of selling at the show.
It's mostly an order writing show. A few people will sell a couple things at the end on the last day, but they have to provide a receipt for that so they can get out of the room with the product. But most people don't do that.
Okay, got it. So that's your answer, Marguerite. You can do it, but it's like I said, it's mostly at the end of the show. The focus is on the order writing and not sort of selling it right then and there, because most buyers, are coming in from out of town, so they want it to be shipped to them anyways. Ravine, what other items need to be completed for the show? I would encourage you to have, some kind of takeaway catalogs, one sheets. Make sure you include your booth number on them, and phone number and email. Lots of buyers, they take things, they'll come by the booth, they'll shop it, and they'll take away catalogs and one sheets and cards, and then they'll go back to their hotel room or at dinner. And I see all the buyers all the time. They'll be sharing it with either other members of stores or other sort of colleagues that they have that are also buyers, saying, did you see this? Maybe I should go back for this. And they sort of make notes about who they should buy from and all that kind of stuff. And then oftentimes the next day or later that day, they'll come back and place orders. So having some takeaway items, I think, is incredibly important. And sometimes, lots of times buyers will take something home and because they'll be undecided. And so having a takeaway is important, because they'll see a hole in their store, or they'll have something that didn't work out, and they'll say, I need to fill either this category or this age group. I need to have something fun. And they'll go back and they'll look at sort of their pile of catalogs and one sheets and takeaways from, ToyFest, and place orders that way. So it's important to have materials prepared beforehand. Being said, I know there were some action items on other tabs. I'm not sure. Where is the list of buyers and their email addresses? So in terms of that would be who has bought from you before. So that's where you get the list of buyers and email addresses. I know certain, Carrie, I don't know if you guys provide access to that for a fee of buyers, or if you do any kind of like pay for play in terms of pushing out content to buyers. Do you do that?
We supply the attendee list after the show to all of the to all the exhibitors. But as far as before the show, we generally do not. I may be coming up with a new way to reach the buyers ahead of time. I just need to discuss this with the president. It just came across my email late last night. So if it does work out, I will definitely reach out to all the exhibitors and let you know how you can do it.
Okay. So it's important when you're at the show to gather email addresses, so that when, after the show, you can email those buyers and say, if you missed us, or if you didn't place your order, you've got to do it. We had such a great show. We sold, these were our best sellers and these were our new items. You have to get these. So collecting email addresses at the show from buyers is very important.
Can I just add one thing to that as well? We also offer a lead retrieval for $25. All the attendees will have a badge with a SKU on it. And so if you'd like to use the lead retrieval, you can purchase that in the exhibitor portal in the add-ons tab. And it's just an app that you download for free, and then we'll give you a username and log in at the show when you pick up your badge.
Okay.
So if you don't want to wait till after, you can get them during the show for $25. Okay.
And Ravine asked, are there any contests being held at ToyFest for vendors? I wasn't sure. It's a Carrie question.
Just so everybody knows, there is going to be a raffle, a daily raffle, and we encourage all of the exhibitors to hand out a raffle ticket to every buyer that places an order with you. And if they place multiple orders, then give them as many raffle tickets per order. they place the raffle tickets in the bin, and then at the end of the show each day we give away $800 cash prizes. And new this year, we'd like to ask the exhibitors to maybe donate product, and we'll give away your product as well.
Okay,
so
great.
Something to encourage order writing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Karen also asked, any suggestions for new exhibitors with a party game? Karen, I would just encourage you to make your booth look as much like a party for, kids as possible. So that may be balloons or streamers or, sort of fun things, maybe have donuts or cupcakes or something that sort of reinforces that party idea, so that when they come into the booth, they get that feeling of what it will be like. And then, of course, obviously you want, the front and center thing to be the game. And so in terms of sort of decorations and things like that, I would think that should be an important part of how you, sort of think about, designing your booth, so that, people get that sort of fun party aspect when they're walking in. So same for an adult party game. I think, so you have adults and kid party game. Yeah, I mean, I think that, our brain sort of automatically associates sort of balloons with party and things like that, even if it's adults and kids. So I think that could be fun. It doesn't mean you have to have a booth full of balloons. It just means that, you want to sort of, convey that message visually, and through your sort of, banner or whatever the backdrop is going to be. So it's very clear that that's a kids and a party, you have kids games and you have adult party games. So you want to make sure that your signage makes that very clear also. So it's important also for signage that if you have a product that can be, that people may not be sure about or aren't sure about the age range or things like that, it can be important in your signage to say, the best, adult party game, or the best adult kid game, or, ages, 3 to 12, or, perfect for, learning this, whatever it may be, learning motor skills, whatever it may be, so that those kinds of things, if they're walking by and need something like that, they will know to stop. Whereas if it's not as clear what your product is without stopping, they can get that immediately from your booth. Oh, it's just adult party games. Sorry, Karen. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that, as long as the signage makes it clear, I think that it can be fun. And I think that there is value in having some kind of sort of balloons, maybe some fun treats for adults, because that just immediately conveys, or appetizers, something that sort of conveys party, even if it's for adults. So obviously maybe the color scheme would be a little bit different, so it's more sophisticated since an adult. And like I said, your booth doesn't have to be filled with, balloons, but that's just one idea for how you could sort of convey, party to the buyers walking by. Anybody else have any questions? I would love to answer anything about merchandising, about prepping for beforehand. Well, if you need help with anything, please feel free to email or call me, and I would, love to work with you. I'm so excited to see you at ToyFest. If there's no other questions, then I think we're wrapping up. And I wish you guys a fantastic show. And I'm excited for you to write your orders and for you to have a great show.
Thank you, Lindsay. This was really great, very informative on social media. Hopefully everybody learned something new today, and they'll get to take that with them and get some orders at the show.
Great.
Lindsay will be at the show. She's hosting a seminar on Sunday, March 10th for our retailers on merchandising your store. So if you want to learn more on merchandising, you can always join that. It's at 8 a.m. 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, March 10th. Once again, our hashtag is ToyFestWest. Our handle is at ToyFestWest, and we'll see you in about 30 days.
All right. See you guys. Good luck.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.